whenever I come across lots of people who've had lessons prior to this, we're going to go left, is they tend to kind of struggle a lot with the clutch because they're not used to the biting point. So I'm lowering the clutch down, I'm already in first, and I'm just being careful because of the traffic on me right, parked up. A little bit of gas, a little bit of clutch. Now, what they tend to do is they'll get in the car and they say, I've got good clutch control. And they'll move off and stall. And the way they've been taught to do it, and there's nothing wrong with the way they're doing it. I suppose it's just the way I teach different. So I'll give you an example here. I'm going to give way to, there's nothing behind me, so I'm going to give way to this car possibly pulling out. So I'm lowering the clutch down, braking. Now what they'll do is, they'll have it in first gear now, and they'll have their foot on the brake, and they'll lift the clutch up to the biting point. And because they're not used to the car, it's going to cut out on them. So you just got to be a little bit lower and get that brake off and lift and put some gas on at the same time to make a move, because otherwise, let's back to second gear, otherwise you're just going to stall. And I'll show you what they tend to do here. So I've seen it plenty of times. So pretend there's a car coming, it's not behind me, so it's pretty quiet. So I'm lowering the clutch down, pop it in first gear, and while they're waiting, they're lifting to the biting point. Oh, why is it cut out on me? Well, because they're on the brake, that's why. So clutch down, and then just go, as you're lifting the clutch up, get your brake off, get your gas on, get your biting point, and then you're off. And you try to tell them, get your foot off the brake. And they say, well, it's going to roll backwards. Well, if you're worried about rolling backwards, you put your handbrake on. You know, if you're worried about rolling back into the car behind you or rolling back on a hill, then use your handbrake. All right. And they'll say things like, oh, well, on my last instructor, I was fine. I didn't roll backwards. I didn't stall. And I say to them, well, you're in a different car. You need to get used to the pedals. So we're going to do a right turn at this little crossroads. And it takes you a while, and I'm talking about this now because once you get your first car after passing your driving test, there's going to come points where as soon as you get in the car, you're going to stall, and you're going to scratch your head. Why am I stalling? Why am I stalling? I was really good with me learning a car, and I can't even drive this car now. I don't understand. And what you got to remember is it's the pedals that are different. And also take into account, have you been driving a diesel? All right, now there's going to be a few people out there say, well, it doesn't matter what car you drive, diesel or petrol, as long as you can drive, you're going to be fine. And they're right. I'm just going to pull over on the left here. So I'm braking gently, clutch goes down, handbrake, neutral, cancel signal. And they're right. In a way, it doesn't matter if you've been taught in a petrol or diesel, but if you've been taught to be good on the clutch control, then you'll adjust pretty quickly. But if you're not fantastic with the clutch and you've been taught slightly different, it might be harder for you to kind of adjust. So I'm in gear, and what they'll tend to do is, you can see my foot's hovering near the gas, but it's actually not doing anything. And I see people, the foot's on the left there, not doing anything, and they'll lift the biting point and look round, and the car's struggling. It's going quiet. I say to them, put some gas on, you're going to cut out. And what they'll do at that point is they'll be thinking, well, it's all right in my other car. Well, the biting point might be a little bit higher than mine. So you've got to lower the clutch a little bit lower if you're going to do that, and take the handbrake off, you know. And then what they'll do is they'll say, can I move off without gas on? I said, if you want to, but you're not going to get very fast. So they lift the clutch up, and it's moving, and they want to go faster. And it's struggling now because there's no power. You can only go so fast. And I'm doing like, it looks like 6 miles an hour. And then you put your gas on, and there's a delay. And I've come across people who've done that. And I'm saying to them, you need to put some power on. When you're moving off, you need power. You know, the clutch will move you off. It'll do great on your manoeuvres. You don't need power with manoeuvres because you're only going slow. So you hold your clutch still in manoeuvres, which is for another lesson, that one. But when you're moving off, you need a bit of power to move off. You can't just lift the clutch off and expect to kind of pick up 20 miles an hour in the next couple of seconds. So it's that precision between the the gas and the clutch together. So as that clutch comes off, that gas should be going down with it. And what they do is they'll lift the clutch off, and then there'll be a delay of about a second. So what they should be doing, you can say, okay, hovering. I mean, what I say is put a bit of power on, you know, so it helps the car, because you need a bit of power to move off. So a bit of power, a little bit of clutch, and as you're moving off, just hold your feet still, give it a few seconds, and as you're lifting the clutch, gas goes down at the same time. And that's what it needs to be like. You can't be expected to just lift the clutch off and then put the gas on and then move off. I mean, some cars will do it,